Who cares?
Nice.
Nice.
All right. So, welcome to High Tech Low Life, where today is podcast day, and we're doing a podcast with two guests here. One is named Cloud, and one is named Tony Gunk.
It's definitely Claude and not Cloud.
Yeah. Okay. Whatever, man. Anyways, let's get straight into it. How was your day today, both of you?
Yeah, it was somewhat productive. Just having to work on like summer school stuff.
Summer school?
Yeah, I'm kind of finishing up with classes this week.
Man, I would never take summer courses. Not that I have to anymore or anything, but no.
Yeah, my day was also pretty good. I had a dentist appointment, so that's always fun.
Yay.
What'd you get done?
Just routine cleaning, you know.
Anyways, let's begin. Let's begin with the first topic. Anti-cheat software installing themselves at Ring Zero. So are you guys familiar with Valorant?
Nouveau?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about Valorant first. So, as you know, Valorant's anti-cheat system, Vanguard, I believe it's called, installs itself along with the game itself, and it starts up whenever your computer does. And if you turn it off, you have to restart your computer in order to get it open again. So, what are your thoughts on software like this? First off, so I know Denuvo, anti-cheat is another one, though. I don't believe there's any actual games out right now that have it because they backed down.
It's stupid. Some of that stuff is kind of stupid. Like Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is like what used to be a pretty small download for me, including with DLC and stuff. It's now like at 80 or 90 gigs for just like the whole taking the Denuvo software off of it.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the anti-cheat or are you talking about the DRM? Because those are two different products.
I'm still pretty sure it's still the anti-cheat stuff, from what I remember.
No, I think you're confusing it with the DRM. Because the Nouveau anti-cheat didn't exist back then. Back when MVCI came out, I know because I followed that game. It was hilarious with all of the like horrible graphics and like the Chun-Li face. Like I'd have to show you guys later. Anyways, my personal thoughts are that you know how there's a backdoor. Like everybody's talking about how the NSA wants every company, every tech company, every encryption company in the backdoor so the US can make use of it. So it's not the same level, but in case anybody figures out an exploit to the Vanguard system that Riot uses, you know, it could be a vector. And you know, considering Valorant is really popular, that's a lot of computers that are vulnerable.
I do think it's definitely, it feels a lot like it's sort of overkill almost. Like it feels unnecessary to have security at such an extreme degree.
Well, like if you think about it, Valorant is supposed to be propped up as the next big esport. Because think about it. Think about a game like Destiny 2. I don't know if you guys played or not, but in PvP at the very least, I play the game a lot. At PvP at the highest levels, it's rampant with cheaters everywhere. It's insane, and they do like insane stuff. It's not like really subtle, like, oh, he can consistently headshot you or whatever, or like wall hacks or whatever. It's like using abilities. No, it's not even that either. It's using like super abilities over and over again when you know there's like minutes of cooldown, and you know it's insane. It's obviously cheating, and the fact of the matter is that like if without an anti-cheat system, games die because of it, because no one wants to face these cheaters anymore. But at the same time, though, I understand where you're coming from.
That. Like, but I mean, I feel like you say that, but then CS:GO is still like an esports titan despite the rampant cheating.
That is true, though. I believe the people that actually play have CS:GO Prime.
Actually, yes.
Like I'm grandfathered into the CS:GO Prime because I was gifted the game a long time ago. I've never, and also you can register your phone number with it too. A lot of Eastern countries, like South Korea and stuff, actually force you to synchronize your social security number as well.
Yeah.
And if you cheat, I mean, you only have one social security number. You're not going to be able to just make another account and continue cheating.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no real solution yet other than like limiting the amount of accounts that people are allowed to make. So anyways, let's move on.
You're already not allowed to do that, but people do it anyway. So
whatever.
So let's move on to the next topic at hand. YouTube bot network stealing your account simply by interacting with the comments.
Yeah, so, I think you've mentioned that me outside of this stuff.
All right, but for the people that aren't familiar with it, there are a series of comments that are like, hey, want to be friends? Or like, hey, good stuff. Also, check out my channel or something. Anyways, it's obvious that there's a bunch of these accounts with the same like abstract profile icon and also the same name too. But when you check out their profiles, which I did in the safety of a secure setup without any accounts on it, essentially what you find out is that these accounts have actually been hijacked, and they're full of like, I'm assuming these are like gullible kids with accounts, because there's a lot of Fortnite recording gameplay. A lot of them are like former kids who wanted to be Fortnite pros on YouTube, but got hacked instead. I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
I mean, this sort of thing's been around for ages. I know, in fact, for a while, a few years ago, if you were a fan on YouTube of Jack's Films, it even became a running joke that there were bots specifically in his comments section with usernames like Jack's Films giveaway and shit that were just like, oh yeah, click this link to get a free gift card or whatever, and they were clearly scams. And it was like had become so prevalent that at one point he even began acknowledging them in the videos as a running joke that they were definitely totally real and not a scam.
Well, the issue with
this isn't a new thing.
All right, I'm gonna direct you guys to the general chat. So the podcast talk actually. So here's the thing, though. It's not like a phishing link, like a normal link. It's them being able to somehow just hijack your account just by liking or even commenting on their comment.
Seems
which
greasy.
It is quite greasy and I'm not going to confirm it because some bigger YouTuber did it for me, and he got hacked, and he still hasn't got his account back.
Yikes.
So I'm not going to risk anything. I deleted all of these comments off of my YouTube channel videos. I could delete all those comments because they're really unsafe.
I haven't seen any, but I will take a look at my channel and see if there's any there.
So from what I've been told, it seems to be a security flaw in Google's SMS checking. I don't know if they fixed it or not, but it doesn't seem like they have. But essentially, if you're using two-factor authentication via SMS, I would change to something else. So aside from that, though, I don't really have much else to say. Do you guys want to move on to the next topic?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
So the next topic is Oscar bait movies.
Oh man.
What are your thoughts?
All right, so I've at least gone and seen some like some movies that definitely do deserve Oscars, but there have been some like over the years that definitely are like, yeah, it's all right, but nothing worth really getting an award over. I mean, I had to watch Moonlight as one of my school projects for like sociology, and that one, and honestly, it's all right, but I don't even get why it won all those awards and stuff.
Right, yeah.
Well, I mean, do you want to say something, Claude?
Oh no, I was just gonna. Well, I was gonna say I definitely have a fair amount of experience with this. I'm I don't want to say qualified to talk about this, but I definitely have a lot of experience being a former film student. Um, and you know, I know I've had quite a lot of experience with, you know, Oscar bait films, and I think it can be fairly easy to spot one, I think, even like from the trailer a lot of times. And there it's I don't want to say a cheap tactic, but it's almost like, you know, the Fortnite YouTuber of films, almost, of taking something that is intentionally, you know, sad, and just sort of abusing it for, not abusing it, that's a bit too harsh of a term, but, you know, sort of taking it for granted, because you know that it will, you know, garner sympathy from critics and from the Academy.
All right, so I mean, it really depends on the movies you're looking at too, because
That's
there are
true, yeah.
really good ones. Like I think The Deer Hunter is probably the most famous Oscar bait movie, and it was the first one deliberately designed to win an Oscar.
Mm-hmm.
What about Driving Miss Daisy?
Yeah,
I've never seen that.
I have. It's quite old. Is it Morgan Freeman? I don't remember now.
Yeah, but there's also a ton of movies that, well, it doesn't seem to make sense as to why they're considered Oscar bait when everybody already hated from the onset. Like, you know, Cats. That's technically an Oscar bait movie, but you know what? Everybody hated it from the onset. Not a single person.
There's always been, I think, a discrepancy between critical acclaim and, you know, public appeal.
But But Cats wasn't critically acclaimed, was it?
No. But I'm just saying, in general, there's always been that discrepancy that, you know, critics will very often love something or hate something. And to be perfectly honest, and I think this rings true for a lot of mediums, being a professional in a medium kind of blinds you to the joys of the medium. Like people say, if you love something, never get into the industry. So if you love films, never become a filmmaker. Or if you love video games, never become a game designer. Because it's very easy once you're in the industry to get sort of lost in the weeds, and like a lot of people, like a lot of critics hate, like, you know, popcorn movies of just like garbage action where nothing happens. But a lot of people, that's their favorite genre of movie because it's just fun to watch. And I think that's really where a lot of the discrepancy comes from, is a lot of critics, I think, get very tied up in sort of the technical aspect of, you know, filmmaking, and filmmaking as an art rather than filmmaking as an entertainment medium.
Absolutely, I agree. And on this Oscar bait movies, do you guys want to talk about quote unquote Oscar bait equivalents of games? Because that's where we can really truly agree.
Could we consider Death Stranding from last year? Because
Well, I was going to say the even more topical, and I think, which I'm pretty sure was also on the doc for this podcast to discuss, The Last of Us 2.
Yes,
or just the original Last of Us, to be exact.
Well, the original Last of Us 2, yes. The original Last of Us also, I should say.
Hey, so spoilers ahead. In the description, there's gonna be a timestamp where we can skip all of the
Those
The
time
Last of Us
codes.
2 spoilers, because
Yeah,
I'm going to be quite frank, I'm no good at talking about this kind of stuff without spoilers.
that's totally fair, and I think
I
it's
mean-
hard. It's hard to discuss this topic without spoilers. I think to discuss it adequately.
I mean, but then again, this game's also been out for like a month now, so
That's fair, but
I mean,
if you haven't,
fair, but still,
but also video games are $60, and not everyone has $60
your game
to
kind of
spend
going
instantly.
viral.
yeah, but I'm not trying to spoil anything for anyone that
Yeah.
still wants to play the game but can't afford it.
Yes,
But you know,
Anyways, let's talk about let's get to it. So the Last of Us 2, definitely the Oscar bait version of it.
yeah,
Death Stranding is weird. I've never existed as a concept without Sony or
yes,
Kojima.
yes. So
I
I'm
mean-
I'm willing to
I
give
want-
Death Stranding the benefit of the doubt.
I'm going to say, right out the gate, I am in the controversial camp of I actually quite liked Death Stranding, and I know a lot of people disagree with that. I have the game. I quite enjoy it, actually.
I really want to actually get my hands on Death Stranding and play it for myself. From what I've seen, you know, it looks like a walking simulator, but it's like as you go on, you get more stuff, and it at least opens up
Well,
as you go on.
I'd say
It
as a game in the walking simulator quote unquote genre, I would say it is absolutely the most in depth in that walking is genuinely a mechanic.
yeah. It's
And you
literally
also got it.
Genuinely like analyze the terrain that you're about to. It's like literally like a hike simulator is what Death Stranding is. It is a hiking simulator basically.
And
Well-
you can also use like pee and poop bombs on
Yeah.
like these weird
On
these
ghost
weird ghost things.
monsters. Yes.
all right.
But-
Ghosts.
I do plan on playing this on PC though. I haven't played it yet,
Mhm.
despite the fact that I have a PS4. The PS4 I have is mostly just a Bloodborne box. Let's be quite frank.
Yeah. Well,
But
I mean,
back onto the whole thing of Last of Us 2, though.
yes.
So The Last of Us 2,
The Last
It
of Us
doesn't-
2.
gameplay wise,
It looks fine.
Mhm.
but we're not talking
It
about
look-
gameplay. No one cares about the gameplay. Let's be honest.
Well, let's get that right out of the way, right out the gate. Mechanically and graphically, it is probably one of the best games that's going to come out this year. It looks phenomenal. I'm someone who, even when I don't like something, I like to be as fair as possible and give it as much of a benefit as of the doubt as I can. Graphically, it looks phenomenal. It is an amazing looking game. Gameplay wise, I haven't played it personally, but from what I've heard, it's more of the same. And I have played the first game, and the first game is pretty good gameplay wise. It's not perfect, but it's not terrible, and I assume they've made some quality of life changes. But yes,
Yeah.
as you were saying, Star, those are not the things that everyone is talking about. What everyone is talking about is, of course, the story.
So let's get this out of the way first. No one involved with this channel is a homophobe or a transphobe.
No, very
or-
much the opposite, in fact.
Or a racist,
In-
or like any of the like bigoted things that people want to call other people for criticizing the game.
Mhm,
So
Let's get it out.
if you're kind of getting triggered by us being like by what we're about to
Hey,
say,
hey, now, no need for that language.
Mhm.
any criticism, we gotta say, well, you know,
We're just
that-
so let's actually talk about the game now. So
Yes.
it seems so every single sequel wants to try like a sort of Metal Gear Solid 2 twist. So have y'all ever
Mhm.
played Metal Gear Solid 2?
Not
yes,
Sons of Liberty?
yes,
So you-
I've
Myself, not personally. I have a friend who is very into Metal Gear, so he has told me about it very much. So
Yeah,
I
so
know about as much as someone who has played it.
So you know the most infamous thing about the game is the fact that you don't actually play as Snake, except for like maybe a few times. You
Yes.
play as Raiden mostly, and
Raiden,
he
yes,
was never
Raiden,
featured
Raiden.
in. he was never featured in any of the advertising. You
Mhm.
know, some people might say false advertisement, but it ties in really well with Metal Gear Solid 2's story themes.
Yeah, I think so. I think something very similar to that is this is a minor tangent. I think very similar to that is the Simon Pegg film that came out a few years ago, World's End, which was
dude, I've seen that.
Yes, which was billed as like a reunion story about a bunch of friends getting together and doing a pub crawl for their last hurrah as old college or high school friends, and that was all that the advertising said it was about. It was about these old friends getting together and going and doing shenanigans and hijinks one last time as they all got drunk. And when you actually went to see the movie, as it turned out, the movie was actually about an alien invasion. And that was a complete left field twist that wasn't foreshadowed at all. Well, it was foreshadowed, but you would have no way of knowing that's what the movie was about until it is revealed that there are aliens. And that, I think, is I think, is it false advertising? Maybe, but I think it does what it wants to do, in that, like, movies don't do that anymore, where they don't tell you something like crucial to the plot. I think it's like a lost art of springing surprises on the audience. It doesn't happen very often.
So Halo 2 did this as well when it first came out. No one knew they were going to play as the Arbiter. And people definitely warmed up to the Arbiter towards the end of the game, because, as you know, the Master Chief was still there plenty, and you got to play as him plenty. And he got most of the better levels anyways. So how do you feel? So now that, the cat's out of the bag, everyone knows that you play most of the game as Abby. What are your thoughts? Do you think they did this whole thing properly?
I definitely think that this was calculated but poorly. I think it was it's hard to like articulate how I feel about this. I think it feels very much like they have missed what was so impactful about The Last of Us 1, because I think we can't talk about what went wrong without talking about The Last of Us 1. The Last of Us 1 was a very morally gray game. It was on the lighter side, but it was very morally gray, and it had a very dark and morally ambiguous ending. And I think I think they kind of misunderstood what about that was impactful, because it feels a lot like because a lot of people drew parallels to The Road, the novel, which is a very dark book about how bad humans can be at their worst, which is a very similar thing, except in that book, the apocalypse that happened is much more ambiguous, but it has a very similar plot line. And I think really what happened is that they sort of missed the mark a lot, and I think they saw that the misery and the feeling emotions is quote unquote art, and I think I really think that they went too hard on trying to make it art, in very heavy air quotes.
Man. So
I mean, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
Yeah, so I have a lot to say about that. So yes, it's been a debate whether or not video games are art, and a lot of people that are like people that play video games want to say that it's art, because but most of the people say that because it just sounds like it legitimizes their thing, as if because I guarantee you your parents tell you to stop playing video games because they think it's like a thing for kids, right? I don't know about your parents, but like most like
it's more
mine personally, no, but that's because my father actually still plays video games
same
to this
here.
day.
Well, anyways, so yeah, I do agree that The Last of Us 2 went super hard in this art direction, but at the same time, though, it really like the morally gray stuff is gone, as you all expected. Abby is the white to Ellie's black, and I mean, come on. Let's think about it.
Is revenge morally white? I don't know if I would say revenge murder is morally white.
Let's be quite frank. Abby is the closest.
I think what the directors want you to feel is that yes, Abby is the morally white of the two characters. But I think that's part of the problem is that they have aggrandized their own ideals to a point where I think they're a bit blinded by the reality of what's going on in the story.
Well, let me just finish my thoughts.
Go ahead.
Abby is the closest thing to a Mary Sue that The Last of Us has.
Oh yeah,
definitely.
She feels very much like she came out of nowhere for no reason.
Yes,
just kind of
aside from her having to kill a ton of people to defend herself, and killing Joel out of revenge, I mean, like, come on, it's heavily. There's a lot of heavy favoritism on her. She gets a lot of the better. She gets a lot of the better weapons and better upgrades, and she also gets to hang. And there's also the scene where you get to hang out with all of the dogs, and she gets to pet all of the dogs. And you know what happens to the dogs? You play as Ellie, and you have to kill them as Ellie.
Yeah.
And it really makes me mad because I understand that.
The dog.
It really makes me mad though because they've like destroyed this whole morally gray aspect.
Yeah. There's a prevailing theory in pretty much every medium, which is hotly contested, and I am very much against. But there's the prevailing, school of thought that if it makes you feel something, then it's art. And I think there's something to that, but I think people think that too strongly, in that if something's just unpleasant in like every sense of like I know there's a lot of short films which are just unpleasant to watch. There's just nothing enjoyable about them. They like can hurt your eyes to look at, and a lot of people argue that is art because it made you feel something. But maybe it is art, but it doesn't really have value though. Like what is there to gain from having watched or played or read something that not only didn't interest you but just made you feel bad for the sake of it, not to teach you a lesson or to, talk about a heavy subject, something that just felt bad to interact with for the sake of making you feel bad and nothing else. What value does that have?
And that my thoughts. Oh, sorry, you haven't talked a lot, have you?
Yeah,
you should go ahead and say them.
I have my own personal thoughts about this. So, I think that the whole thing is that they were trying to go with the whole thing of, like you guys said, making Abby the sympathetic character, but they just ended up. But it's like you see this person that you see kill your favorite character off, and you're like, oh man, I hate him. You go through the whole game, and then you switch on over to Abby for like what 8+ hours, longer than what you do with like with alien stuff. And it's supposed to be like this whole thing of you're going to sympathize. Oh man, it's the person you're supposed to sympathize for. She's not all bad, but but we all know that it's like she killed off my favorite character. I don't want to play as this person. I want to beat this person up. And we don't even get the satisfaction of that at the end, by the way. So, and with Ellie, she's not exactly a perfect character either, but I didn't really see much of growth for her character outside of right at the end where it was like, where's Joel being like, don't go down the path I went down and stuff, and trying to do that. But it's like at the end, it doesn't really matter because all that stuff was like a big flashback.
I would make the argument that Ellie by herself, even in the first game, wasn't that compelling of a character without Joel. Because Joel was definitely the most compelling character of the game.
Yeah.
Most because
he was the protagonist.
And he was the most fleshed out character, even with Ellie having a whole DLC to herself.
That whole DLC is on its own little bucket of worms.
Yes, let's not. But let's also talk about. But like Joel drove the first game, and
he was basically like the heart and soul.
Yeah. I think Ellie was definitely charming, but she wasn't like the driving force of the game. Yes, she was a fun character to be around, but she wasn't like the heart of the game.
And I'm going to be honest. I was going to be honest. I predicted Joel would die, straight up.
Yeah,
I'm not mad that he's dead because I knew it was going to happen.
I definitely also saw that coming. Yeah.
But I can't help but feel like they could have done it in a better way. There's a billion ways it could have happened, written by a bunch of people that like really enjoyed the first game as well.
Yeah, I feel like on-screen murder by a character you then have to play as is definitely one of the least ideal ways to kill off the beloved protagonist of your first game.
And also, this whole thing about them trying to make it as brutal as possible to make you feel terrible about it. No, that doesn't work because it's essentially trying to falsely manipulate you into that narrative, but you don't have the option of not killing. It works in Metal Gear because, as you would have it, Metal Gear has ways around it. It has non-lethal options to take your opponents down. You don't have to kill anyone. And I don't really, games trying to make a message about what I'm doing is wrong. It doesn't work. Like Undertale. Everybody's playing Undertale. Basically, the big behind Undertale is that you can choose to either kill or not. And, most people choose not to.
Because, this guy's
pretty sure. Can you believe that can you believe that an indie game gives you more choice? Some of us.
I feel like for a while now we've definitely been in, I would say, like a golden age of indie games where for like a while I'd say most indie games there've been a lot of indie games with as much, if not more, value than the AAA titles that have been coming out in recent years.
Yes, of course. I don't know, man. The Last of Us, they should have done better. It's it's definitely the most polarizing game of this generation.
Yeah, I guess.
But
I don't know. Well, I don't know if it's that polarizing because, to be perfectly honest, I haven't heard that many arguments in defense of it.
I've heard quite a few. Mostly,
I've heard a few, but like, I wouldn't say it's that polarizing because, for the most part, I think the majority of people have fallen on the negative side as not liking it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it's another one of those games with the discrepancy critics and the users. It's super highly rated on Metacritic, and there's a lot of stuff going on, especially with like people believing that Metacritic is deleting all these review bombings, but they're not deleting the positive review bombings as well. That's another can of worms that we could talk about later.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It is what it is.
But let's get this. It doesn't beat Bloodborne as the PS4 exclusive. Let's be frank.
Not.
Absolutely not. I'm glad we're on the same page.
There's also Ghost of Tsushima that's supposed to be coming out, I think, this week.
I saw it, and the gameplay looks kind of meh at best. It's not Bloodborne.
Looks kind of like Breath of the Wild with samurai ninja stuff.
I haven't seen it.
I've seen it. It looks like Assassin's Creed with samurai.
Well, Assassin's Creed isn't bad though. Assassin's Creed is good.
Yeah,
What
but
it wants to be.
yeah, but it's just meh. Honestly,
That's fair.
it looks meh. I mean, I haven't played the game yet, and I kind of do want to play it because it looks really cool though. The art style, like the graphics, look great. I think it looks better than The Last of Us 2. You know, probably yeah. Anyways, let's move on to the next topic. We've talked a lot about this. Let's talk about anonymity and the total loss of accountability.
Ooh, fun.
So, as you know, the early days of the internet, you could be anyone you wanted. You could put in a username. You could put in a username, and that's it. No one knows a thing about you. No one knows.
I mean, that's still the case somewhat.
I mean, yes, but a lot of people, in an attempt to chase fame and clout, and be like be an influencer, have decided to forego this.
And then people are basically being.
And also, people, despite the fact that you might not know any of their personal information, people have become attached to their persona, their identity, so to speak.
Yeah.
I'm sure you all have too.
Somewhat.
Like you all use the same usernames if possible in games, right? Like if
I'm trying.
Yeah. Anyways, so what are your thoughts on this lost accountability for anonymity? You can say whatever you want without any consequences, as long as no one traces your IP.
Yeah, this has been sort of an ongoing thing since the early days. I mean, let's get right down to it. Let's not beat around the bush. This is the most prevalent of all time in, of course, 4chan of all places.
Yes, 4chan.
Let's not pretend that when talking about anonymity lets you say whatever you want, that we're not somewhat even like in passing talking about 4chan, because that's one of the most prevalent places where this occurs.
And so I also wanted to talk. Do you have anything you wanted to say, Tony?
Like, honestly, it's not. I'm not really too big on this stuff, but it's like also think of like having like internet privacy. I mean, I don't want anyone trying to like know who I am online and try and look that up.
Let's talk about the second half of the question that I didn't actually write down. So let's talk about the disappearance of anonymity and the birth of the persona, the birth of the internet persona. Like I go by Starlogical in most games, in most stuff that I actually have played, or like stuff like that. And as of that, despite the fact that no one really knows who I am, they know who I am. So, what are your thoughts on everybody just not having any sort of anonymity or privacy, for that matter?
I think that's like some Orwellian stuff that could end up happening in the future.
So, have y'all ever read a book called I think it's called The Circle?
I have not. No, what is it?
Oh no.
So basically, it's a book about this whole transparency thing. It's a dystopian novel by Dave Eggers.
Oh,
essentially, it's about this girl who starts working for.
Yes, they made a film about this.
They did. I read this for college too. But
all right. Yes, I do know what you're talking about now. But yes, go on for the people at home who haven't read this book.
So she starts working at this company who is basically this powerful technology website. They're basically Google.
Nondescript, yes. Nondescript website that everyone uses.
Yay.
Basically. And they make all sorts of technology. However, she becomes more and more involved in this company's I guess, transparency, no secrets, sort of ordeal.
And then she goes down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I'm not gonna say much more, but yeah, read the book and maybe watch the movie. I haven't watched the movie yet, actually.
I have also not seen the film, but I know what it's about because I know the book somewhat.
Yes. So, anyways, let's move on to the next topic.
Mm-hmm.
Performance enhancers being sold and advertised by gaming influencers.
Why would
This
you
is an
need?
interesting one.
So,
What enhancements would you need for playing video games?
Well, that's the thing, isn't it?
yes, that is the thing.
Because video games are not inherently a physical sport, so. But I believe a lot of it is
Messing around with your brain chemicals or something.
Yes. Well, no, I believe a lot of it is natural supplements, as it were, that are for increased like focus or hand-eye dexterity. Yeah.
So I'm gonna reminisce. I'm about to reminisce for a second. I remember when Game Fuel was a thing. It was just a flavored Mountain Dew, but it was the most awesome thing ever. Probably because Halo 3 came out around that time. And I was in middle school, man. It was great.
I remember that era. I was a bit young for that era, but yeah. I believe I'm a bit younger than you. A few years, not by a lot.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a great time, man. I mean, it wasn't pretending to be this sort of energy supplement meant to help you focus or whatever. It was just a cherry flavored Mountain Dew. And,
it's just, hey, do you play video games? Do you like soda? Drink this video game soda. It won't help you play video games, but it's good.
It'll help you stay up.
Drink the magical gamer juice.
Yeah, but like now, they're selling like tubs of like G Fuel stuff. It's like some sort of like formula. Like Tang?
Yes.
Like, the powdered stuff, Kool-Aid. You ever drink the Kool-Aid before? I haven't, but
I have.
I haven't
Kool-Aid powder. I used to love that shit.
I haven't drinking the Kool-Aid though. The kind.
No, not the Kool-Aid, but I have drank actual Kool-Aid.
Yeah, but so basically it's like that, but it's meant to like help you focus and like. There's a ton of these influencers that like for whatever reason they're advertising this crap.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like it comes with the territory of esports being a relatively new field. It's there's not super established norms at the moment. And I think even back in the day, like you want to talk about like some of the most famous like baseball players. Like let's not pretend we don't all know that Babe Ruth did a shit ton of steroids before that was illegal. Not illegal, but before that was against the rules to do. Like he was so good because he was on a bunch of performance enhancers, and that was just because those were the early days.
So I have here some nutritional value stuff. Actually, it's supplemental facts. So it's 0 calories for 1 scoop. This is for advanced.gg stuff. Sponsored by Mcash, a famous Destiny player.
Should mention also that a lot of things that say they are 0 calories, because of the way the FDA works, you can round down if it is under a certain amount. So
yes, that's true.
That does not actually mean no calories. You can drink as much as you want.
So I mean, should they be they shouldn't be advertising this crap because they know that a lot of kids watch their stuff. It's not for kids, but like come on, this is one step away from being steroids.
This is
video game steroids.
Well, I mean, I suppose it depends on what, because I don't personally know enough about the contents of these drinks, and I don't know enough about them personally to be able to say if it is or isn't. But I think the trend of marketing products to children has been ongoing for a while.
I'm just saying they should take some accountability. I'm not saying
I'm not saying they shouldn't. But I'm just saying you're right. It is somewhat sketchy that these people who clearly their audience is a younger audience are marketing things which are not intended for younger audiences.
And also, so I'm looking at the ingredients list, and I know you don't know anything about these supplements, but do you happen to know anything about energy drinks in general? Monster,
somewhat.
Red Bull.
I don't drink any of that.
I know that I avoid them.
I don't drink any of that.
So they share a lot of they share a lot of the same ingredients.
Mm-hmm. Well,
which makes sense because it's meant to be like one of those things. But
mm-hmm.
if you're allowed to take, where does it stop? If you're allowed to take this stuff to help you focus, what's stopping someone from taking a bunch of Adderall?
Well, that's exactly the argument, I think. Yeah.
Where does this madness stop? And I mean, and how can you stop it? We're online. No,
mm-hmm.
if we were playing a game right now, you versus me,
mm-hmm.
and you don't know what my face looks like. You don't know what my setup looks like.
Yeah.
How do you know that I'm not just some drugged out Adderall freak of nature?
I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. I mean, how do I know you're not using macros? How do I know you're not cheating? It's the same, really. It's just it's unregulated, is what it is. It's not. There's no official rules about this kind of thing. It's not regulated because it is a fairly new field.
I don't know. I don't know. Just something feels wrong about this. And as much as I have no authority, nor am I an influencer or anything of the sort yet, I just can't help but feel when I see this stuff being advertised, this crap being peddled, especially by these pro players. I mean, they say, they're advertising it like they're sponsored, but do they use this stuff, or are they just really good without it?
I don't know.
We should that should be the first thing they should talk about, is if they actually drink this stuff themselves.
Well,
so anyways, let's move on to the next topic. The Twitch music apocalypse.
Oof.
So do you guys know anything about this?
I know.
Yeah, I've only heard
Tony,
about
the
stuff that's been going on with Dr. Disrespect and how
this was actually before Dr. Disrespect got banned. I don't know much. I don't know much about him to say anything about that. But essentially, this happened to YouTube several years ago when people were making videos with all of this copyrighted music that didn't belong to them. And now Twitch, and now you see a bunch of Twitch streamers. I don't really like Twitch streamers, so I don't watch a lot of them. But I can tell you that they play a lot of definitely not royalty-free music. Definitely copyrighted.
I do watch probably not a lot, but quite a bit of Twitch streamers. I watch quite a few. I'm not going to name names because I'm not going to promote other people on your podcast.
Thank you.
But even though I did that earlier, but we'll pretend I didn't.
I'll pretend I did see that.
Yeah. That it's a lot of stuff media shares and background music. It's not like people on YouTube were definitely intentionally uploading other people's music for their own personal gain.
Yes.
Whereas I think the Twitch audience the Twitch streamers it's a lot more genuine, and it's a lot more of the argument that people on YouTube who weren't just stealing music had of stuff should be in the public domain, and we want to just because a lot of it is entire videos getting taken down, back when this happened to YouTube, entire videos get taken down because you're in a public place and a song plays and you have no control over that. like someone walks by playing a song on their phone, and Content ID catches that and flags your entire video, and that's an issue. But on Twitch, a lot of what's happening is just music played as background music, or music that is part of, say, a game. Like if someone's playing a game and the music gets flagged from that game that they're playing,
like if I'm playing GTA 5 and
and that game is full of licensed music.
Am I gonna get copy striked for that?
Yeah. And I think that's a lot of that is a lot more. It's a lot more good spirited. It's not. So I think it's a lot. It's definitely a different landscape, I think.
Okay, so music in like stuff like that can be used if it's transformative. That isn't really a transformative use of music. It's like,
I mean, that's totally fair. Yeah.
And the law is the law, and I'm not gonna. And I feel bad for these guys because they want to use like their favorite K-pop or like their favorite pop or whatever. But the fact of the matter is, they can't, and they should learn to adapt. The unfortunate side effect, though, is that it seems like they have to delete all of their like streams and clips.
Yeah,
and
all of their VODs are being basically almost everyone is losing a lot of their VODs, and
it's yes, and it is unfortunate, but that's just kind of how it is. And people should suck it up, because I mean YouTubers have had to deal with this stuff for years. And like personally for me, I always be certain to use copyright free music, like royalty free music, even if it is just all lo-fi stuff, which is lo-fi. But you just have to learn to adapt. That's all I can say. Do your due diligence. They taught me this in school too. When I had to do projects and I wanted to use music, they always said that you should use royalty-free stuff because you can't use copyright materials.
They said go on to Incompetech and use Kevin MacLeod like everyone else.
Ugh.
You guys remember Kevin MacLeod?
Actually, I get permission from some. I get explicit permission from some artists, like have you heard of Burbank's music?
I have not.
I'm sure you've heard that one song. I think it's called "Sorry I Like You" or something like that.
I may have. I don't know.
Let me link it real quick. I'm sure you'll recognize it.
Well, the one I mentioned is probably like one of the most famous royalty-free music creators.
Kevin MacLeod.
Yeah, Kevin MacLeod. Kevin MacLeod. Cloud. I think it's Kevin MacLeod.
Yeah, I'm not using that yet.
No, I'm just saying it's one of the most.
Yeah, I understand. Anyways, the moral of the story is they should just adapt.
Just adapt like we do.
Well,
just like all the other.
Well, it's like what Charles Darwin said. It's not the strongest nor the smartest that survives, but the most adaptable. I probably paraphrased it, but that's okay. So let's move on to the next topic. GitHub renaming master code to main code, and Chromium renaming blacklist and whitelist to blocklist and allow list, respectively.
Okay, right. Okay, that's just stupid stuff, because who cares? We use this stuff all the time. I don't really care. It's people going crazy about social justice stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I see where it's coming from, but it just feels reactionary.
Just like people trying to get rid of Eskimo pies and Aunt Jemima.
Eskimo pies? I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, they apparently started getting rid of Eskimo pies because of, Eskimos being not a very nice term to say for the Inuits.
Technically Inuits, yeah.
What's an Eskimo pie?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Hang on, I thought it was something like moon pies.
I know what a moon pie is.
Yeah, I know what moon pie is. I've never heard it called that before.
I've never heard it called
Eskimo pie. It's like an ice cream thing.
I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of it.
Like one of those
Like I said, it
little.
might be a regional thing.
I've heard of Aunt Jemima though.
Yeah, that's a brand of maple syrup.
Yeah,
And a big
pancake too.
and a bigger one.
Oh yeah, and pancakes.
The
Very good
Redskins
pancakes.
are kind of going through with their whole name change.
So
well, that's
it's all reactionary. I don't believe for a second that these companies are genuine. They're just
I don't believe that they're genuine, but I think the people want to do this in the first place. I think is somewhat baseless. There's no it's very assumptive that these terms ever had anything to do with what they're claiming in the first place.
The whole Aunt Jemima thing started when this one TikToker person made some sort of TikTok about how Aunt Jemima is racist, and yeah, she was she was already an influencer.
What you gonna do? Turn Aunt Jemima into a white woman? That's right. I'd say that's racist.
All right.
Is that? I mean, that's the whole the gray area of it. Like, if you replace Aunt Jemima, like I'm pretty sure Aunt Jemima is like the name itself is some sort of like stereotype. I'm not really sure what it is, but
yeah,
I've heard it's some sort of like nickname for like some sort of stereotyped black woman. We're allowed to say black here, right? Not African American or black.
I think it's all right to say that.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, man. But if you replace Aunt Jemima, the name can go. I guess you can just name it whatever. But if you replace the black lady with like a white lady, I mean, like what does that say?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna do that. That seems like not something that's gonna happen.
That actually seems a lot worse, actually.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
But what about if they replace it with like the new progressive like view of black women? You know, like a black lady wearing like business gear instead. I mean, I don't know how that would look.
I don't know.
It's just weird. Just people being weird on the internet trying to say they're trying to do stuff for a good cause and trying to fight racism and stuff. And sometimes this stuff ends up turning into a thing of they're actually trying to bring back racism and segregation.
Who is?
I'd say it's all the people that are trying to do all this stuff.
I wouldn't say much more, man.
But
I would not say much more than that.
We'll just keep it at that. We're here for sake of YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, man. I bet you that like in like 10 years, someone's gonna dig this crap up and they're gonna try to cancel you, dude.
The nebulous they.
Yeah. So what?
As for GitHub, we're naming it from master to main. The idea behind that is that master is supposed to have this connotation with slavery, and yes, absolutely. I mean, absolutely though. But then, slavery. Back then, like slavery wasn't about race; it was about class standing.
I mean, also, I feel like that's not like at all. Like that's a homophone. I feel like it's not the same definition. It's not implicitly has anything to do with slavery. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's, like I said, it just feels reactionary. It doesn't feel genuine. It feels like people are just saying things and companies are damage controlling, even though it's like baseless claims.
Like, what about the other definitions of master too? Like, what if you're learning, what if you're like learning a skill from a master and you have to address them as like master or whatever, or you're learning martial arts. You aside from being sensei or like teacher or whatever, or sifu or whatever, you have to. Some people call them like master last name. What about that?
Exactly.
So everything seems centered around race politics is definitely centered around African American people. But what about me? What about someone like me? I'm not white.
Who's like,
I'm not white either. I'm Asian.
What about people who are like mixed race, where I'm part Filipino, but I'm also mostly white.
You're part Filipino?
Where do mixed people lie in all of this? Like,
well,
if you're someone who has,
if it were old Asian the old world, mixed people wouldn't have a place. They'd be in between two different worlds, and they would never truly belong in one or the other. That's old school Asians thinking. So, anyways, let's move on to this before this gets too racist.
All right.
or just too sensitive.
Maybe we'll just cut that whole bit out. Just cut that out of the podcast.
Yeah, but let's talk about this even more sensitive topic.
Oh boy.
Evo Online canceled, and the then Evo host Joey Suellar, or Cuellar, I don't know, aka Mr. Wiz, was outed for abusing children and pedophilia in the Smash Bros. Community. Thoughts?
I mean, let's be honest. Are we really surprised that there were pedophiles in the Smash community?
No,
that's not. I'm sorry. I should. That's
a lot of
very
the
insensitive
bigger players that we've seen. I've been hearing about getting canceled left and right because of this stuff.
I
Turn out to be
mean,
players.
I mean, it happens. What? I'm not trying to make light of a very dark subject, but I mean, it's almost at this point it's almost to be expected, and that in of itself is somewhat depressing. I think that this sort of behavior is now to be expected in any field. I feel like we really need to figure out what's going on, because
I mean, it's hard to do. I mean, these sort of people have basically everything. They have the dream job. They get paid playing video games, and I mean, and these people, not saying everyone that's like rich or famous or has power does this sort of stuff, but like some people need their sick kicks, and what's sicker kick than a kid? I mean, I'm actually genuinely surprised that the Smash community wasn't outed earlier for this, because I mean, like, there's more kids in the Smash Bros. Community than there are in other like big scenes. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, even before this massive exodus in 2020 happened, I mean, there was this one major one with this one kid named Captain Zach, apparently having dated some guy named Ally, and apparently blackmailed the guy and forcing him to like fix matches and stuff. They both were promptly banned. Anyways, and the bigger one is that the Evo host, Mr. Wiz, was out asking kids to send him paying the kids to send pictures of,
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not cool, man.
It's dark, and it's not good. I mean, what really more is there to say other than that's messed up, and boy, I'm upset that this is still happening in 2020.
Well, just because Mr. Epstein died doesn't mean it's gonna stop.
Let's just it's important that we talk about that this is happening, but at the end of the day, like, what is there to say?
Have you guys heard about this Sky House?
Yes.
Sky House.
So there's this one YouTuber, not even a pro Smash player, named Sky. He used to be friends with Donkey, but not anymore. Essentially, he ran a house where minors and like adults lived and had to pay rent. Or if they didn't pay rent, he would just go in the room and smash their stuff. or he would physically threaten them with violence unless they could take him on. Then he would call the police. And essentially, there's rumblings about him allowing these adults to abuse these kids that also live under. Like, it's like the Smash Bros version of Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, I mean,
I heard the other thing where it was like he was faking. I think his dad having cancer.
Yeah, I heard that
or
too.
to get a crap ton of money for
this
like,
isn't the first time someone's pulled that one though.
and he got all the money for like PP enlargement surgery and stuff.
Who was it? I forget. Who was it who claimed to be who claimed to have lost motor function in their lower half, basically, like in their legs, and got a whole bunch of donations from people, and then just live on stream forgot to turn the camera off and got up out of his wheelchair and walked away.
Oh my God, Dad! You don't have paralysis anymore.
Yeah. I don't remember. That was someone. I don't remember who that was, but I remember that happened to someone, and that was just like, boy, people are scummy. It's just a fact of life. People are scummy. It sucks. What are you going to do?
Yeah, that reminds me. Have you heard the story of this one GoFundMe where there's this couple who got stranded and they needed gas for their car, and some homeless guy gave them his last 20, and they were so inspired by this movement that they made a GoFundMe for the guy, and a bunch of people donated. Guess what happened?
Not actually homeless.
No,
Yeah.
No.
They
So
took all the
essentially,
money.
so basically, here's the thing. Yes, they were taking the agreement was that they all shared the money, but they started taking more and more of his share, doing things, and people had noticed that they were going on like vacations, like buying stuff with all this money that they apparently didn't have, and then he decided to take them to court for that, and then they found out that he was in on this all along too. I guess he wasn't homeless. I don't really know if he was or not for real. But yeah, it's a crazy conspiracy. That's why, if you want to help someone, never give them money, or if you want to give them money, never give them something you're uncomfortable with. If you're okay with giving them money, never expect the money back. If they pay you back, sure, whatever, but never expect them to pay you back ever. Now, let's move on to the next topic. Anime. Making anime on inherently non-Japanese media properties. What are your thoughts? So I can give out some examples that existed in the past, like the Animatrix is one, Halo Legends. That one.
I mean,
apparently getting an anime by Studio Trigger.
Wait, what? You cut out, dude.
Yeah.
Cyberpunk 2077 is getting an anime, and Studio Trigger's the studio doing the whole thing.
Yep. See what else? There's also Korean manhwa that was made into anime. Ragnarok is one, and also they're making some on Korean webtoons now, such as Tower of God.
Yeah.
Tower of God is so good.
I heard.
What?
I heard about what happened, but I've seen happens at the end. But I've only seen like the first couple episodes, and it's all right.
Yeah,
not really.
It's so good, man.
I mean, I don't think there's anything inherently bad about it. It's just a style, right? Like, what's so wrong about that? I think it's interesting to see things in a new style.
Well, yeah, I think it's pretty cool too, and it's pretty cool that they're expanding out. Crunchyroll is bankrolling these studios for these Korean manhwa-based animes. They're also doing God of High School and
yeah, I've heard I've watched a lot, like something that's supposed to be like from the first episode from it. That animation from that whole one fight scene is clean, man.
Mm.
Mhm.
Yeah. But essentially, and I mean, Crunchyroll is bankrolling all of this stuff too. It's crazy, man. They should do more of this stuff instead of like that one high Guardian Spice or whatever.
Where is that show coming? I thought it was like something where they had shown like their coming attractions, and that was supposed to be one of them.
It was delayed.
Where is that show? It's been.
It was delayed to 2020, and then 2020 happened, and now we don't know. But it's better if they just don't release it and just focus their talents on getting the other stuff made more. I mean, I saw the trailer, and the trailer had no animation from the anime itself. It just had a bunch of like American people talking about diversity and stuff like that.
Okay, but show
I
us
don't
the
really care.
animation. I want to know more about the show. Kind of looks like Little Witch Academia, kind of.
Did you say My Hero Academia?
No, he said Little Witch Academia.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't really know anything about that anime. I just know that it exists.
I don't like most of Trigger's work at all, actually.
I'll be real, I don't watch a ton of anime personally.
I haven't watched anime. I haven't watched like super mainstream anime in like years, but
yeah, I mean the last anime that I watched was Part 4, and that's just because I like JoJo because it's fucking dumb, and I love dumb things.
Dude, Part 5 is way better.
I know. I'm just saying the last anime that I watched was Part 4 because that's the most recent one.
Honestly,
Part 6 is awful. Personally,
Part 6 is all right.
Part 6, it's not great at the beginning, but it gets better as it goes on until the end. We definitely need to get a redemption for when One Punch Man Season 3 comes out. Because, especially what's going on once they finish up with the Monster Association arc that's going on and what's happened, absolutely hyped for.
Let's not talk about One Punch Man spoilers.
Just for the sake let's not talk about spoilers for anything,
unless it's important.
Unless it's important, yes. Unless it's important to the conversation. Let's avoid spoilers.
Speaking of anime, Berserk hasn't gotten a good adaptation since the one of the 90s, where it's all
well, I mean, yeah. I mean, what did he find? He finally got off the boat like this year, didn't he? So I mean, the manga itself isn't even doing great.
That was 2 years ago, I believe.
Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah, it's because the creators.
Oh my god!
Creator wants to focus on a show about idol girls.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Freaking Kentaro Miura is a idol head. Why?
I don't
know. That's kind of funny.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of. Man, I remember Berserk got on a boat, and then a friend started reading Hunter x Hunter because he heard it was really good, and then they got on it too.
Yeah. Well, it's because the I cannot remember his name. The man who writes Hunter x Hunter is like dying. So
I've heard it's both him dying and sometimes he's lazy.
Yeah, but I mean that's.
So it's to my understanding that sometimes he'll take a break because he's sick, and sometimes he'll take a break because he just wants to play Dragon Quest all day.
Yeah.
However, if he does die or becomes too ill to work, his wife, she wrote Sailor Moon, by the way.
Oh.
Yeah, crazy, huh? So yeah, imagine that. That'd be pretty. I wouldn't mind that at all. That's pretty sweet. Sailor Moon is. I watched that as a kid, like when I was in like kindergarten, and I had no idea what was going on because the bus would always come before the episode finishes, so I just never finished the episodes. And plus, it was the really stupid dub from Deke or whatever, where they tried to make it like an educational show. I don't know. Right. My sister loved it. She was in high school. Anyways, let's move on to the next topic. Oh shoot, I don't have a next topic. Crap.
Oh.
All right.
Is there anything y'all want to talk about personally?
No. Maybe.
Let's see here. A little bit of a thing, Monster Hunter.
Yeah.
Monster Hunter. I used to play a lot of Monster Hunter. Now I don't.
I'm not a huge fan of Monster Hunter personally.
But the most recent update that ended up coming out with Alatreon coming to the game came out recently, and let's just say he's been a bit of a controversy.
Hey, you cut out again, man.
He's controversial.
The newest monster that that's come out for Monster Hunter World has pretty much been very controversial.
Controversial in what way?
Okay, so the actual fight, I've gone through it. It's kind of like a souped up version of the original. He's able to use all 5 elements now, and he can inflict you with all these blights, but for the most part, it's fine. Except for his ultimate attack, which, from what I've seen, it's just a set amount of damage that's completely unavoidable. You don't have anything that with monster would just do like a giant AoE explosion. You'd have something to like hide by or avoid death. You'd basically have to try and out heal this entire explosion. And the only way, and from what I've seen, like at max power, this explosion does like 400 damage, which is like you're basically going to die. And the only way it's not as bad to deal with is by attacking it with only elemental weapons and trying to break off the horns. And I'd say that it's because of this one system where you basically have to focus on just dealing elemental damage instead of like being able to just go gung-ho with whatever you usually play around with.
I mean, that's just kind of how games are when you reach the end game. You can no longer mess around with off meta stuff. You have to use the most effective for whatever the end game activity is. It's just kind of how it is. And Monster Hunter is too, especially with the world becoming more and more like an MMO.
And the only way, and from what I've seen, it's like you have to use there are specific weapons that scale with elemental damage that basically make the whole fight kind of not playable. So whatever your usual style, like me, who's using a great sword, that doesn't really work well with Alatreon.
I mean, that's just how it is, man. I mean, I'm sorry that you can't play with your usual greatsword too, but
I mean, it's like, haha. They're like, haha, me smash you with a 10-foot sword.
Yeah, I know. I used to play a lot of Monster Hunter. I made greatsword back then.
But, I'm trying to adapt, but I really want to try and get a lot of the new gear that's with it and stuff and all that stuff. Because I'm trying to experiment with like builds and everything since I'm trying to get back into playing it after a while, after waiting for a while. But
So let's talk.
that's just about it.
So another thing I do want to talk about is actually the Steam sale. Have y'all gotten anything this past summer Steam sale? I know summer's still going on, but the Steam sale certainly isn't.
Hang on. Let me see what's on, what kind of deals are up at the moment. Because
there's no deals anymore, man.
I haven't gotten anything personally, but I have a few recommendations for everyone if they'd like to hear it.
Go ahead. List them out.
First things first, Super Hot Mind Control Delete is coming out very soon, and that game is good.
I already got it on X.
Yeah. The original Super Hot is super good, and Mind Control Delete is just more of that, and it's good.
Yes, I have played Super Hot. It's the most innovative first-person shooter I've ever played.
It's the most innovative first-person shooter I've played in years.
I forget. I don't know. But
yes, I believe it is. I believe it's the. Have you seen this new game? It's called Super Hot. It's the most innovative first-person shooter I've played in years. Check it out. Here's a link.
Super hot.
Yes. The other one that I want to recommend to everyone everywhere, because I love this game, and it's not for everyone, but I want to recommend it anyway, is Noita, which is Noita, which is Finnish for the word witch.
I've heard of it.
It's very good. It's the tagline. What is the tagline? The game where every pixel is simulated. It's like those old powder games that you used to play that we all played on the school computers. Remember that game that we all played?
But now
it's that, but it's a roguelike. It's a very good game, and that is also coming to 1.0 very soon. It's a very good game. I highly recommend it, and it has not gotten as much recognition as I think it deserves. I think it deserves more recognition than it's gotten.
I think it will once the game comes out.
Yeah, I think once it hits 1.0, it's definitely going to get another boom in popularity, because it had a big explosion of popularity when it hit one of its first major updates, and people were like, hey, this game is pretty interesting, or like when it first came out, really, it had a big explosion of people being like, hey, what's this game? And then when people started learning things about the game, they were like, hey, this game is really, really interesting and you should check it out. And then I think when it hits 1.0, it's going to have another resurgence, hopefully, because I think it should, because I think it's really good. So those are my two recommendations.
So there's two major games being advertised right now on Steam.
Mm-hmm.
The first of which is obviously Death Stranding on PC.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and the second
again, I like it, but it's definitely not for everyone. But personally, I really like it.
The second one is Halo 3.
Also very good, though I personally don't like it, but I understand why it's very good. I just don't like first-person shooters, to be perfectly honest. I'm just not good at them.
You go around and you hang out.
But I understand how good it is, yeah.
Yeah, I prefer Halo 2's gameplay itself, but Halo 3 is... it's good.
Mm-hmm.
I'd argue the Halo series was the birth of the AAA experience.
Honestly,
I could give it that. Yeah,
I can't really go back to any sort of first-person shooter after Doom Eternal, especially with how that's basically treated me. My primal instinct of run around shooting, thinking on the fly and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever played Quake? Have you ever played Quake 3 though?
The influential shooter of influential shooters.
Yes. If you think Doom Eternal is fast, you should play Quake 3 against some Quake gods. Ugh.
Quake gods, basically, it's like
the least fun experience you'll ever have playing a first-person shooter.
It's because they know the entire map inside and out.
I mean, that game is so
They
old.
basically have this entire route of where do I go find the rocket launcher, the sniper rifle, the mega health, the quad damage, everything.
At this point, you may as well put Quake 3 on the list of solved games.
Yes, right beside Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Plays
Yeah, kinda.
3 lives, no item.
Melee is extremely solved. Come on.
I mean, yeah, pretty much. It's
The last like major tech, like I don't play Melee or Smash competitively for that matter, but from what I've read from people that I know, apparently the last major tech they found in Smash was having the perfect controller have some sort of manufacturing defect in order to execute moves more properly. I don't even know.
Yeah,
but
it's super busted.
Yeah. When a game reaches that point, it's solved.
I mean, kinda, yeah.
It's insane.
I mean,
also, Halo 3 is $10.
Ooh,
that's pretty good.
Now that's a good bargain.
If you never played it, go get it. That's our recommendations.
Also, as my kind of shill as a fan of the series, always go get the Yakuza.
Yes.
Yes.
Yakuza fans must promote Yakuza forever so that someone will play Yakuza.
I'm still waiting. I'm still waiting for 2 to come onto the Xbox along with 3 through 6. Because
as is every other Yakuza fan.
Yes. I remember Yakuza used to be Japanese exclusive for the longest time.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely.
I've known about the game since the PS2 era.
Which is part of why Yakuza fans have been clamoring for so long, is because it's like, this series is really good, please localize it so we can play it. There you go, that's a game that came out, I said recently, last year, which was, took a million years to localize. Published by FromSoft, though not technically made by them. Metal Wolf Chaos.
Yeah.
No, Metal Wolf Chaos, one of the best stupid games ever made. Do you want to play as the President of the United States in a mech suit fighting
American game
fighting terrorists? Yeah.
He's not fighting terrorists. He's fighting terrorists.
Well, he's fighting the vice president who is trying to conduct a violent coup.
Imagine playing it.
Richard!
Yes,
Rich!
Joe Biden!
Yes.
I am Barack Obama. And do you know why I'm doing this? Because I'm the goddamn...
It's like a big old carnival. It's like Mardi Gras in New York or something.
This
is about my little pet. The people of New York are festively running around for their lives.
This is about that of a time as taco night at James Earl Jones's house.
Exactly. Anyway, so that game rules. It's super stupid and cheesy, and it's hilarious.
Can I give some recommendations of my own?
Hell yeah.
No, you can't. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna do it anyways. Disgaea.
Disgaea.
Have you heard of the Disgaea series? I'm sure you guys have.
I have. I've heard very highly of the Disgaea series, in fact.
Play it.
Yes, from the people who've played it, all I've heard is, hey, you should play it. And I'm like, okay, I might do that at some point, if I get around to it.
So...
I still have to play Danganronpa, man.
Well, if you ever play Disgaea, you can just forget about playing Danganronpa. So basically, Disgaea 1 and 2 and 5 are on Steam.
Ooh.
And I was recently gifted Disgaea 2 from a friend in real life because he knows that I love these games. Thankfully, I'm not going to say his name, but thank you very much. But I will say that. Disgaea 2 is probably one of the best ones. But if you can get 5, you should probably play that instead.
Mm-hmm.
So none of the games are necessarily related to one another. They're in the same universe, and it's not rebooted or anything. But you don't have to play the older games to enjoy the newer ones. It just might be hard to go back to the older ones from the newer ones.
Right.
So yeah, the game. So yeah, if you play through the normal campaign, it's a reasonably balanced game, unless you know how to. But
Right.
once post game unlocks, that's where the real game, and it like the entire game goes off the rails. It's actually insane. The max level cap, I believe, is level 9,999.
Nice. That's fun.
You'll beat the game at around level like 95 to like 100.
Fun. Okay. All right. I'm a fan.
It's a turn-based strategy game, much like Fire Emblem or Final Fantasy Tactics. And tactics are kind of important early game, but like once you hit the post game and you start really playing the real game, just tactics go out the window.
Just spam one move over and over again.
Well, no, not necessarily. It's about cheesing the system as hard as you can.
Right.
Which I guess is still tactics, but still.
Just like Yakuza. As a reminder, the Tiger Drop is a completely non-OP move. I don't care if it suddenly deletes a opponent's health bar in one go as a counterattack.
So my question is, are there any games that you guys want or are looking forward to?
This comes as half of a recommendation and half of something I'm looking forward to. DreadX Collection 2 is already in development, even though DreadX Collection 1 just came out 2 months ago or something, which was a short game jam project quote unquote inspired by PT, in the sense that it's all a whole bunch of indie devs being like, here's a short playable teaser for a video game idea, and they may or may not become full video games. Some of them are just fun ideas, and some of them may become real games. And that has a bunch of fun little horror games in it, and they're making a second one with a bunch of popular developers. Airdorf for the people who made Faith, which is a very unique horror game, which is basically what if there was a horror game on the Atari, is what Faith is. So they basically said, how can we make an older horror game? So they made a horror Tiger Electronics game. Or a Game & Watch, if you want to. Game & Watch Tiger Electronics LCD. One of those LCD games.
What?
It's a bunch of experimental, basically horror game pitches, essentially. They're not full games. And there's a second one coming soon, and I know the person who made World of Horror is doing a short game for that. World of Horror is also good.
World of Horror is such a good game.
World of Horror is very good. That's another recommendation for you.
Personally, I'm waiting for Cyberpunk 2077 coming out, because
everyone's waiting for Cyberpunk 2077.
Because from what I've been seeing, and the fact that it's been the fact that this is Project CD Red we're talking about, that usually does these games, people have said that The Witcher 3 was a very
best games ever made.
Like a very top-notch game. I've tried it. I've been playing that a little bit, and it's definitely pretty good. Really good stuff, and I'm personally just really excited to try and get into something new and unique with everything.
Cyberpunk's a good game. Well, it looks like one.
And apparently it's also based off of a
tabletop, kind
of like D&D. And also Keanu Reeves.
I mean, he's great.
Anyways, I'm what am I looking forward to? Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to the 1.0 release of this one game that I have called have you ever heard of the Record of Lodoss anime?
I have not.
Record of Lodoss?
Record of Lodoss War. So basically, it's an old anime series based off of it started as a novel. It started as a novel series first. It was based on the author's own D&D experiences in Japan.
Okay, I'm seeing it. Huh.
But this game's a Metroidvania. It looks pretty sweet. It's pretty sweet.
Does it have,
what?
Does it have like D&D type mechanics going on with it?
The Metroidvania, I wouldn't say, but I mean,
it would be interesting to see.
But it's more so based on the experience rather than the game, like an actual D&D game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but it would be something cool that I'd like to see.
Yeah. Speaking of which, do you guys have 100% orange juice?
I do not.
Yes, but I cannot play it. I cannot play it because I am only Mac.
Dude, you can't. What? You can run PC games on your Mac. You know that, right?
Yeah, but it's only a Windows thing.
Dude, you can run Windows on your Mac.
Yeah, but I don't want to know. I don't want to try and mess around with how the hell to do that.
Dude, it's not that hard. Just Google it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm speaking as someone that like builds PCs and like does this sort of like tinkering stuff all the time, and that I'm in the process of building a custom water cooled PC. Come on, man. Actually, isn't there like I'm pretty sure there's like a version of Wine for I'm pretty sure there's a version of Wine on the Mac.
I don't know.
Wine. Why would you want to drink wine on Mac?
Okay, all right. I see where you're going with this. So I'm just gonna cut that out. Right, I'm gonna tell you to cut that out right now. So essentially, Wine is a set of like Windows libraries that are like open sourced and made for use on Linux or also Mac, and essentially it lets you run Windows applications. Actually, you know what? I'm pretty sure Steam has something called Proton. And I don't know if Proton actually works on Mac, but that's weird. Let me see if it works. I'd be more than willing to help you out, mate, because 100% Orange Juice is pretty freaking good. You should get it too, by the way, Claude.
Plus since there's a bunch of other games that I already got in my Steam library that I can't play without like Windows and stuff.
Yeah,
I was gifted 100% Orange Juice a long time ago by a friend. I don't know where she went.
I don't know.
But essentially, get it.
All right.
I'm trying to get some other people to get it too, and yeah, they should get it too. Especially if you're like in the audience. If you like a game, if you like Mario Party, but you hate Mario, then get it.
And it's got like a bunch of anime girls in it and stuff.
That's not the selling point of this game,
isn't it? And I remember someone on one of the other on Discord saying to get because it was like $2 at one point.
I'm pretty sure that was probably me too.
Yeah.
Anyways, I would be more than willing to help you get Proton working on your Mac. Or
like mess around with tech.
Or I could help you get Wine on your Mac. Yeah.
We'll see, man. But
all right.
Anything else?
Nope.
Oh.
Here. Let me link this for you. It's called Play on Mac. And try it out. Just follow the instructions. I hear it's quite good.
Have you tried it out though?
No, but it's just a version of Wine. Wine is safe to use on your Linux PC.
Mhm.
Completely safe, you're saying?
Yes, it's open source too.
Alright. Alright, I'll try and give it a try.
I mean, come on. The worst that can happen is something happens and you have to reformat your computer. But that's not that hard, is it?
Well, when you're talking to someone who doesn't really know how to really mess around with that stuff. Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
But, I mean, it's not permanent. You can always uninstall it.
Yeah.
Anyways, I think that's it for our podcast. It's been going on for an hour and a half.
Yeah, hour and a half, just about.
Gotta be
Yeah.
definitely a big beefy one.
I have a lot of things coming, and I'm going to give you guys a super juicy tip on what I'm going to be reviewing next.
Oh.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh.
Razer released a 60% keyboard called the Razer Huntsman Mini. Ever heard of it?
So a new keyboard?
Yes.
It is a new keyboard.
It's a fancy new keyboard.
I just ordered one.
Mm-hmm.
And it should be coming on Friday, so I'm going to be spending all my time reviewing it. And
Nice.
It's awesome. It's good.
Everyone look forward to that.
Yes.
That's gonna be...
And watch the video or else.
Yeah, just watch it, support the channel,
Yeah, support the channel or else I will come for you in your sleep.
Oh, come on, Claude. Don't say stuff like that.
Yeah,
Just-
Cloud. You can't say stuff like that.
Don't call me Cloud.
Come on.
But,
Okay,
just kind of come on, watch it. Watch
Yeah,
it.
support the channel if you want to.
All right.
Smash that like button, all that stuff.
Yeah, ring that bell.
Nah.
Can we hit 30 million likes?